Hi, welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper. Lori Johnson here, and I'm bringing to you today the books that I hauled for January from a variety of sources. So I didn't overdo this month, I would say. I didn't go to the library to borrow anything except for a Kindle book, which I'll tell you about in a minute. So I have been sort of striving to reach a couple of my goals this month with my acquisitions of some things, and one of those goals is not to borrow as much from the library until I've read some of the things that are on my shelf, and one of them is to read more fantasy novels as well. So I think this might be a really interesting month next month if I end up putting some of these to the top of my list. I also got some nonfiction reads for work and for just general self-development. So it's kind of an eclectic mix, as I am kind of an eclectic spirit. So here we go. The first one I got from Book Depository. This is The Phoenix Code by Helen Moss. This was recommended by another booktuber, Big-Haired Bookworm. I like her. She reads a lot of fantasy and middle grade fantasy, and this one, just the way she described it, really appealed to me. So it's about Ryan Flint, who accompanies his mom on a journey to the Egypt's Valley of the Kings, and they're caught up in a murder mystery, and there's I think a parallel story with Cleo McNeil, and they partner together to solve the Phoenix Code, and this is the first in the series. And it's a bit of fantasy, a bit of murder, and a middle grade, which I don't typically read a lot of middle grade books, so I'm really looking forward to this. And the good news is if it's wonderful and I love it, I can pass it on to my granddaughter. This is another fantasy middle grade pick from Book Depository as well, The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. This was recommended by the Modern Mrs. Darcy podcast, What Should I Read Next, I think. And this one is about Alice, sorry, maybe I need my reading glasses. Alice, who her grandmother is the author of a book of pitch dark fairy tales, and she dies. And her estate is called the Hazelwood, and Alice discovers a lot of sort of supernatural things, and there's a message left behind that says stay away from the Hazelwood, and she must rescue her mother who's gone missing. And so in order to do that, she has to venture into the Hazelwood. I can't wait to read this one. It sounds so exciting. And again, I think it came highly recommended from Anne Bogle at What Shall I Read Next. I'll do fiction first, and then I'll do nonfiction. The next one is the Granchester Mysteries. I'm really wanting to, this, I guess, right-handed. I'm going to go against the norm. The Granchester Mysteries, the Granchester series on PBS is intriguing to me, but I've never watched it. The mysteries, though, were recommended by the Big-Haired Bookworm as well here on YouTube. She's hysterical if you've never seen her videos. She's very, very funny. So this one is Sidney Chambers, who's the vicar. And he becomes a reluctant detective, as vicars often do in some of these murder mysteries. So it starts out with he's at a funeral. And in fact, the first line I'll read you because I think it's quite interesting and it draws me in. Canon Sidney Chambers had never intended to become a detective. Indeed, it came about quite by chance after a funeral when a handsome woman of indeterminate age voiced her suspicion that the recent death of a Cambridge solicitor was not suicide, as had been widely reported, but murder. This is the first one in James Runcie's series of the Granchester murders, and if it is lovely, then I'll give the actual show a go as well. On to nonfiction. This one is recommended reading for me for a class I'm taking currently. The author's wife actually went to a coach training school that I'm a part of as well. So The Power of TED, the Empowerment Dynamic. This is the 10th anniversary edition. Because I bought this through Amazon, this terrible lighting, I'm sorry, we have terrible rain today, dreary day. Because I bought this on Amazon, I don't know if this was a short time offer or not, but because I bought it on Amazon, they also gave me the option of downloading the ebook for 99 cents, so I did that too. So I have it on both. It's going to be a quick read. There's some illustration in it. I'm very curious about it. Highly recommended by some of my coaching friends as well as my faculty leaders. Carol Dweck is also kind of famous in coaching psychology circles, and so she's written a book about mindset. I recommend it to clients a lot just because I've listened to Carol speak. I've listened to her on a TED Talk. I've listened to her on podcasts, but it's time for me to read the book. It's recommended by Guy Kawasaki, as well as some other gurus in the movement of coaching, as well as self-development, self-help. So I'm going to take a look at how I can learn to fulfill my potential. Maybe not next month, but, and you can see this one she recommends for parenting, business, school, and relationships. So that's good. So it's not just a business book. And then my friend Ginger Cockrum, who was one of my first connections to the coaching world, and she was a faculty leader for me in the group coaching classes that I took, passed away recently, and I was so sad by that. And she wrote this book some time ago, and I'd never purchased it. And so in her honor and memory, as well as just in the spirit of, I am doing some group coaching now, which is fairly new to me, I thought I would pick this up. So these are maybe not things that you're looking for. That's pretty specific, but it's my book haul, so I included it. I get to, put in what I want, right? And then sadly, another person that I really admired, although I had no personal connection to other than enjoying her work, Mary Oliver passed away in January, and that was a very sad day for me. Mary Oliver's poetry has really touched me deeply and on a soul level, and I've known about Mary Oliver for many, many years. My sister introduced me to her as well. So because she passed away, and in her honor and memory, I have several of her books, but I actually purchased her most recent book, which was a collection that she curated of her poetry called Devotions. I got it for myself and for my daughter Megan, who also loved Mary. So I'm very excited about this acquisition, and I can't wait to take a look at this work and what she considers to be her best work. On Kindle, I purchased Anne of Green Gables, the collection of 10 books on Kindle, which was delightfully on sale, and I've loved Anne of Green Gables. I lost my collection. I never had a full collection, but I lost what I had, so I replaced it at least electronically for now, and I can read that when I feel like taking a look at something. My granddaughter actually has the full set that was gifted to her by my cousins, but I don't want to take that from her, so I'll just read it on Kindle. And on NetGalley, I was given the privilege of a first pass and look at City of Flickering Light by Juliet Faye. I'm excited about this. The description of it obviously compelled me enough to ask if NetGalley would send me an advanced copy of it, and they did, so I have that to take a look at too. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but it doesn't come out till April, so I'll definitely do a review of this book before April and share more details about that book as I learn them. And then finally, I downloaded an ebook from my library to possibly start reading tomorrow at the dance competition, and that is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. That is one of my top 9 in 2019. I've already completed one of those, which was transcription. I finished that last night. So if I complete Beartown in the next 2 weeks while I have that ebook loan, that will be my second of the top 9 in 2019. So looking forward to Beartown excited about that one. It's about a hockey team in a small town in Alaska, pretty sure. A tragedy happens. One of the boys on the hockey team is involved. I hear it's riveting. I hear it's difficult in spots, really emotionally driven. Frederick Bachman, I'm told, is an amazing writer. Can't wait. So that's my book haul for January. I'll come back and show you what I bought in February, and tell me what's on your list as well, what you acquired in January, and what's your favorite way of reading. Kindle, hard copy, Audible, what is it that you love the most? I'd love to hear. Thanks so much. Happy reading. Bye-bye.